It's the 8th of January 2026. A warm welcome to the Prime Edition. I'm Marie Yambo. On the sign language tonight is Anne Wangeshi. Now, when it's Thursday, you know we talk business, and tonight we focus on smart investment, which is crucial in a world where the cost of living is forever rising. Now, how do you make your money work for you? Well, on Prime Time Edition tonight, we discuss where you can invest in 2026. But first, here's a look at what's coming up. Our unity is unshakable. Opposition leaders laugh off President Ruto's reference to them as unworthy competitors in the 2027 elections. NYOTA gains. Close to 10,000 young entrepreneurs have benefited from the National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement project. The land is mine. 1998 Nairobi bomb blast survivor accuses a private developer of grabbing a piece of land allocated to her by the government. Labor exploitation. KMPDU decries what it terms an influx of underpaid foreign doctors by private hospitals. Thank you for joining us. We begin the bulletin where over 9,500 young entrepreneurs have benefited from the National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement NYOTA program, and out of 88,000 youth who applied across the 6 devolved units. While launching the second phase of the project in Eldoret, President William Ruto stated that the successful candidates who hail from 6 counties have received 22,000 shillings deposited into their NYOTA mobile wallets, with an additional 3,000 shillings allocated to their NSSF saving account. As Abdiaziz Haship now tells us, the Thursday's disbursement took place in Cashew, Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi, Trans Nzoia, Turkana, and West Pokot counties.
Confirmed you have received. This was President William Ruto's administration aim on Thursday for 9,500 youths who successfully applied for the National Youth Opportunities Towards Advancement NYOTA program.
Ya kwamba hii pesa itatumika vizuri. Hamutacheza nayo kamari. Hamutanunua nayo pombe. Hamutalipa nayo fare ya kwenda kufanya ile maneno.
The second phase of the project has seen youth from Uasin Gishu, Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi, Trans Nzoia, Turkana and West Pokot counties benefit from the program.
There was an earlier program yenye iliendeshwa kwa njia yenye ilikosa wazi. Beneficiaries hawakujulikana ni kina nani,
ambayo hiyo pesa itaingia kutoka Safaricom. Sasa kama uko na Fulisa, pesa yako itapaki vile vile itakuwa imekuja hapa. Mambo ya Fulisa wewe utaongea na Safaricom, vile utalipa wewe mwenyewe. Hii pesa itakuwa intact katika hiyo app ya business.
The phase saw 88,000 apply to gain access to the much-needed capital to run or start their business ventures, but the administration has assured that they have an additional 5 projects for the youth if they will not be successful for the NYOTA program.
Because the whole program ni program ya shilingi bilioni 20. Na hii pesa mnayopatiwa leo is a grant from the people of Kenya to you.
Ni mpango mzuri na unahitaji nyinyi sasa muhusike kikamilifu, mjitenge na wale ambao wana wahadaa na mambo ya mihadarati, na pia tunajua kuna wengine ambao hawapendi vijana wafaulu.
Ruto emphasized that the government is banking on the youth to propel the country attain its status among the first world countries.
In the next 1 month maximum, we will have released 5 billion shillings to 100,000 deserving beneficiaries in Kenya.
The program will be extended to Nakuru, Narok, Bomet, Kericho, Baringo, Laikipia, Isiolo, and Samburu counties. On education, Ruto assured parents that learners will receive the full capitation for the first term of the 2026 academic calendar, despite critics saying otherwise.
Mpaka wanafikia watoto wetu shuleni. Unataka kwenda kugawanya watoto shuleni. How desperate can people be? Let our children be. Let our children learn. Those children are Kenyans.
Ruto, for the umpteenth time, castigated the opposition for lacking an agenda.
Sasa, mimi nataka niwaulize, kama mtu amekuwa uongozi miaka 10, ama 20, ama yule wa 40, na hana track record ya kufanya kitu yoyote, sisi tutacheza na kamari na mtu kama huyo?
Abdiaziz Hashim for Prime Edition.
A look at Matters Health, where the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union has expressed concern over exploitation of foreign doctors by certain private hospitals. According to KMPDU, many of these practitioners are not employed to address skills gaps, but are being paid wages below those stipulated by the Salaries and Remuneration Commission and negotiated collective bargaining agreements.
The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union says that foreign doctors have now become a new favorite for a section of private hospitals keen to exploit them through cheap labor.
That over the past 4 years, more than 3,000 general practitioners have been licensed to practice in Kenya. While KMPDU recognizes the value of international cooperation and the skill exchange, we must confront the uncomfortable truth that many of these practitioners are not recruited to address the genuine skill gap that exists in the country. Instead, they are deliberately targeted by certain private hospitals and private facilities as a valuable workforce to be exploited.
According to the union officials, the situation is so dire that some of the foreign doctors are accepting a tenth of the salaries negotiated in the collective bargaining agreements.
Most facilities, private and public, have resorted into some locums offering 200 shillings per hour, some offering 300 shillings per hour, some offering 150, out of the desperation that there are so many other foreign doctors have been brought in that will accept anything. I mean, if you look at, for example, some were coming from Nigeria, they were accepting 40,000 or 50,000. It is indignity.
KMPDU has also warned that employers must demonstrate that the required skills are unavailable locally before outsourcing.
This is despite the existence of thousands of doctors in the country, or the Kenyan doctors in the country who are employed, or who are grossly underutilized or underemployed by certain facilities.
The price, apart from the Kenyan doctor who we now have almost 6,000 of them jobless, is the poor mwananchi. Remember that there's something called the anthropology of healthcare. We are the ones who come from this country. We know our health-seeking behavior. We know when somebody comes and tells you that nasikia joto or nasikia kichwa inauma, then we can interpret how our people speak their language and how they communicate and how their health-seeking behaviors. So when you end up with a foreigner, who first of all you have to employ this Cuban plus an interpreter.
On Wednesday, Health Cabinet Secretary Aiden Duale maintained that qualified Kenyan doctors must come first and that foreign engagements will be permitted only where it adds clear value to the health system and meets the highest ethical and professional standards.
Solidarity.
Nancy Okware, Prime Edition.
The union makes us strong. Solidarity.
Well, a family in Kitui is seeking help in laying to rest their kin who died 2.5 months ago, that is. 54-year-old Regina Amina's body has been detained at the Mama Lucy Hospital mortuary in Nairobi since October the 24th last year, with the family unable to pay 300,000 shillings. The deceased son is also entangled in a row with his maternal uncles over his mother's final resting place. Timothy Kipnusu has the details of that story.
A family in Kitui County is in despair following the death of their kin. 2.5 months after the death of their loved one, they have not managed to lay her to rest.
Nilijaribu kufikia familia waweze kunisaidia kuzika marehemu mama yangu, lakini kwa sababu pia kulikuwa na shida za kifamilia ikawa ni ngumu.
Their kin Regina Amina, a 54-year-old, is still lying lifeless at the Mama Lucy Hostel mortuary in Nairobi since October 24th last year over unpaid bills.
Tuko na mbilu ya hospitalini na kuna mbilu ya mortuary, na sasa tunataka tutafute mali kama cemetery, mali tunaweza mpumzisha.
Amina's only child, Kivuti Amina, is now seeking assistance to enable him lay her to rest at a public cemetery in accordance with wishes of the deceased.
Kwa wawili ndio tumekuwa tukishughulika na ile maneno, but ikafika mahali akatuacha. Kutoka hapo sasa tukajaribu kutafuta usaidizi, washindikana. Shida yenye iko ni bill ambayo ni hospitali ya mortuary, shughuli za mazishi ambayo ni sanduku na transport, vitu kama hizo ndio zimekuwa challenge kabisa. Na unaona kutoka wakati muda umepita.
Kivuti says his mother gave him clear instructions not to bury her remains at her rural home following disagreements with her brothers. Kivuti also revealed that his mother was clear that she did not want her brothers' involvement in the burial for allegedly failing to offer their financial support towards her treatment.
Wakati mama yangu alikuwa mgonjwa, alikuja ikafikia mahali akasikia ni kama amekasirika kwa sababu familia ilifika mahali ikawa ni kama imemtenga. Kwa hiyo wakati wote wa ugonjwa ni mimi nilikuwa nashughulika na yeye pamoja na dada yangu hapa.
Ni aliacha kama amesema kama anjashughulikiwa akiwa hai, hata akiwa amekufa asikawai shughulikio na asikawai zikwa upande huo, na watu asikawai mfuatilie eti wanamzika njoo amekosa kumshughulikia akiwa anaona.
He is appealing for help to clear hospital and mortuary bills as well as burial cost, all totaling to 300,000 shillings.
Tunataka kumzika kwa cemetery njoo akiwa anjaenda zake, waliongeleshana watu wa nyumbani, akitafuta ile njia yenye ataweza tibiwa nayo juu agwa na pesa ya kutosha ya kwenda hospitalini.
You can send your contribution to Kivuti Amina M-Pesa number 0704 996 747 0704 996 747. Timothy Kipnusu for Prime Edition.
To other news now, where a simmering land dispute in Nairobi's Eastleigh area has drawn government attention after a section of residents raised alarm over alleged encroachment on land earmarked for public use, including facilities serving persons with disabilities and vulnerable children. The contested parcel of land located next to Starehe Boys Center has become a center of contention between the management of the center, where learners with special needs as a local investor who leased the land, that is, in 2020, but now is claiming its ownership.
Sarah Esende, a survivor of the 1998 Nairobi bomb blast, is up in arms over what she says is plans by an investor to grab a 1-acre piece of land which was allocated to her by the government to support disability welfare initiatives.
My next country.
Esende says she has faced intimidation and alleged attempts to forcefully take over the land. She says she leased a portion of the land to the investor in 2020 for a period lasting up to March 2025.
Lease iliisha mwezi wa 3 ambaye tuliandikishana na yeye, na tangu aingia aliniambia hatalipa kitu yoyote kwa ajili amalize kujenga, arusi zianze kufanya usiku, ndiye atatoa pesa ya kunilipa ya miaka 2.
She also insists she does not personally own the land but holds it in trust for Sir Faith Center Primary School, an institution started to support children from vulnerable communities and persons with disabilities.
Yesterday we covered the place, but with the help of the infrastructure, with the help of government apparatus, these people brazenly came and opened up the road and said it is a road, yet it is not a road.
The dispute escalated when an access road used by residents was blocked, prompting intervention by security agencies and national government officials. Starehe Assistant County Commissioner Linus B has confirmed that the matter is under active investigations.
First thing we want to do, we just make sure that the place was safe and we said that the road be open first.
According to the Commissioner, preliminary government records show that the land was temporarily allocated to the bomb blast survivor alongside compensation, but ownership claims remain contested.
We cannot say this is this lady, the other lady, the lady with disabilities is theirs, or the other one, the Fatuma, they were said. But until we have that meeting, we can find out.
Concerns have also emerged over structures currently operating as a school on the disputed land, raising questions about legality and registration.
So hii shule ikifungwa, kama sisi tutaathirika na watoto wetu, wengi wataacha shule, na si vizuri kuona mtoto huku anakuwa mwizi, ama wengine wameingia kwa pombe, ama wengine wanaingia kwa bangi.
The rights of the students, especially those at school, will be given priority because that's what we as a government we are preaching every day.
Joseph Wahungu for Prime Edition.
A look at politics. The united opposition has maintained unity of purpose ahead of the 2027 general election, led by Democracy for Citizens Party leader Rigathi Gachagua. The leaders dismissed recent claims by President William Ruto that he lacks a worthy opponent for the 2027 general election, confirming their strategy to unite behind a single flag bearer is well underway. Gachagua reiterated that the united opposition have a winning strategy that he says they are confident will send the incumbent home and reclaim the country's future. The united opposition leaders on Thursday interacted with traders of Marikiti, Mudhurwa and Gikomba markets, Starehe constituency. It's here that the opposition leaders sought to assure Kenyans that their unity remains intact despite what they termed as attempts by the government to sow division within their ranks. Led by Democracy for Citizens Party leader Rigathi Gachagua, the leaders told traders that consultations are ongoing to ensure that all opposition parties agree on a single presidential candidate whom they say will be announced at the right time.
Sisi tumekubaliana, mimi Rigiji, Kalonzo Musyoka, Fred Matiang'i, Eugene Wamalwa, George Natembea, Martha Karua, tutaketi chini tutoe mtu mmoja.
They also took the opportunity to pledge policy shifts that will protect small-scale traders, lower the tax burden and revive local businesses if elected to office.
Sisi Nairobi hatulimi shamba, hatufugi. Sisi tunategemea biashara na viwanda. Sisi tunasema hivi, tunataka gavana wa kulinda biashara zetu kwenda mbele. Tuko pamoja hiyo barabara. Tunataka gavana wa kufufua viwanda. Tuko pamoja. Tunahitaji gavana wa kupanga Nairobi ipangike na wafanyikazi wote wawe sawa.
Mambo ya linda mama, wale akina mama wetu wakienda kujifungua wapate matibabu ya bure, si ndio? Namba 4 ni kuweka mikakati ya watu waweze kufanya biashara bila kusumbuliwa. Na hii Nairobi tutahakikisha askari ya kanjo hapana subua wale watu wanafanya kazi hapa Nairobi.
The market tours form part of a wider countrywide mobilization strategy by the united opposition as they seek to mobilize grassroots support ahead of the next general election. Elsewhere, supporters and leaders of the United Democratic Alliance, UDA party in Kakamega County, have accused their counterparts from the Orange Democratic Movement, ODM, of harboring hidden motives regarding the direction of the broad-based government alliance. Speaking in Kakamega town, UDA leaders claim that some ODM members of parliament have started interfering with their party's affairs as UDA prepares for the grassroots elections.
We all understand that and accept that we are in a broad-based arrangement between UDA and other political parties. But what is surprising is how members of other political parties are interfering with the registration and election of UDA. Let us respect the independence of UDA as a party and allow UDA members to elect their leaders. without interference.
Feel like they are coming too fast, that they are letting us be in a position that we cannot even decide our stand as UDA people. So we kindly request that if they are coming on board, they let us handle our matters as UDA members and people on our own.
ODM has, on the other hand, claimed through Deputy Party Leader Godfrey Osose that UDA has taken over its grassroots network in Western Kenya, especially Kakamega and Vihiga counties. And we take our first break of the bulletin, but I'll be back with much more in just a moment.
Usilie, ewe mwanadama, usihadaike. Mtu akitoa chafya akasema alhamdulillah, basi mtume anafundisha, wewe umemsikia, unamwambia ya rahmakallah, na yeye anajibu ya hadiyakallahu wa yuslihu balaka. Haya ni mafundisho ya bwana mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Hapo ndio tunapata funzo kwamba kiongozi hapaswi kupuuza rai za watu wake. Hata kama wewe ni kiongozi, pendelea kusikiza rai za watu.
Watakunu jibalu kal-ihmim manfush fa'amma man taqulat mawazinu. Subhana ya Allah, subhana.
Wanasema siku zote wale wa kushiba huonekana kwenye sahani, wengine wakasema sinia, na kwa kweli wale wa kushiba hapa katika shule ya Bookshine tumeuona.
Katika juhudi za kupunguza pengo la kijinsia kwenye elimu, kuna programu nyingi ambazo zimetengwa kando za kuangalia wanawake. Hizo programu zinasau pia kuwa kuna vijana ambao pia wanapitia changamoto sawasawa na za wasichana.
Tajeni wingi wa sentensi hii. Wingi wa sentensi hii. Chifu amemtuza. Chifu amemtuza mtawa.
Chifu amemtunza mtawa.
Maajabu na miujiza.
Oya, mimi nimesepa, watoto tuendeni kazi, mimi nimesepa.
Welcome back. We continue with the news where Lugari Member of Parliament Nabii Nabwera is threatening to sue Kakamega Deputy Governor, that is Ayub Savula, over what he terms as defamation allegations. Nabwera claims Savula has intentionally and falsely linked him to murder allegations he says are malicious. The Lugari legislator has at the same time dismissed talks of a possible truce between him and the county's leadership.
And I'm challenging Savula. I've asked my lawyer to ask Savula and I to go and take publicly tests, healthy tests, and I insist publicly in the High Court of Kenya before competent medical experts. I'm demanding a paltry 70 million for damages. This gesture is not and must not be misinterpreted as political alignment or my support for Baraza for 2027.
And political leaders have been challenged to seek solutions to issues affecting Kenyans instead of engaging in public rhetoric. Speaking to KBC Channel 1, Senior Counsel Nelson Harvey urged leaders to be bold, courageous and articulate in advocating for issues of national importance and not shy away from questioning the government for better service delivery.
Exactly a month after he was reinstated to senior council's rank among the 54 candidates, Nelson Havi wears many hats as a word for political leaders.
We have a majority of members of National Assembly who, sorry to say, do not have the intellectual wherewithal to interrogate issues in advance, to see where the executive is proceeding on a perilous path and to countermand that transgressions in good time. I believe I have the capacity, bearing in mind what I've done before, to do this. And insofar as access to justice is concerned, we've seen the pitfalls of an inept executive, an inept judiciary. Some of the pitfalls are either deliberate or reckless because of lacunas in the law.
Havi, who is among legal pundits who do not cower away from calling unquestionable judicial officers to their mandate, says corruption should be fought by all means if Kenya was to experience any meaningful gain.
In any economy, in any government, in any democratic nation, you need an effective justice system. So that the players in that economy, those in the executive, those in the judiciary, those in the legislature, and the people themselves have the assurance that disputes will be resolved speedily. Transgressions of the government will be countermanded speedily. And as excesses of parliament will be dealt with speedily. And with such an elaborate system being oversighted, being legislated, we should be able to have a better Kenya, much better than we found it.
The former LSK president who vied for the Westlands parliamentary seat on the UDA ticket in the last general election says vocational training for the youth in the slum area is his top priority come 2027.
It was abominable to question the administration of President Daniel Arap Moi then. Why is it that with such a transformative constitution, a very enabling environment, members of the National Assembly are not able to do better? And the reason why they're not able to do better is because of the quality of what we put in Parliament. Speaking for myself, I think I have the necessary ability to withstand coercion, inducement, or outright threats, and do what is right for the people of Kenya and the people of Westlands in particular.
Havi has promised to use his social media platforms not only to call out for good service delivery from the three arms of government, but also for opportunities for the less fortunate.
This is my message to the people of Westlands, and these are the people of Westlands. Do you school in Westlands? Yes. Do you work in Westlands? Yes. Do you live in Westlands? Yes. Do you have any business interest in Westlands? Yes. Then you are the people of Westlands. Put your vote where it counts.
Ruth Wamboi for Prime Edition.
4 suspects were arrested during a crackdown on illicit brews in Vihiga and Kakamega counties by a multi-agency security team. During the operation, which was led by Western Regional Police Commander Isa Mohamud, thousands of liters of illicit brews and brewing equipment were seized in the process. This, as Deputy Inspector General Eliud Lagat issued a tough warning on drug traffickers, saying the days are numbered.
Drama ensued during the crackdown of illicit brew in Vihiga and Kakamega County, where one of the suspects caught in the act was pleading for leniency from the police officers. Regardless, she was escorted out with other suspects to be detained at Kakamega Central Police Station awaiting charges.
Hii ni operation ambayo imeendelea usiku kucha na hatimaye tumepata results na tumefanya hiyo kazi ambayo mmeshuhudia.
Leading the operation, Western Regional Police Commander Isa Mohamud, in acknowledging the breakthrough, noted that the crackdown will continue to rid the counties of the vice.
We will put a very serious warning to the manufacturers. We will do it again and again, and we will do it for this area, the whole of this region. We will do it seriously.
This even as he gave a stern warning to police officers aiding the vice.
You'll be charged criminal. There's a criminal liability or serious disciplinary action. Nothing will dismiss you from the service. That's what you will do. Anybody who's involved in it, illicit brews. We will not accept that.
During the crackdown, thousands of liters of illicit brews and brewing equipment were seized. And Deputy Inspector General Eliud Lagat was in Kapsabet, Nandi County, where he handed over a vehicle to aid the fight against illicit brews. Lagat warned those behind the illegal business that the law will soon catch up with them.
We will not allow our society to degenerate and to perish because of ethanol, because of adulterated brews, bangi, and any other unaccepted drugs.
This comes days after the directive of President William Ruto on all-out war against illicit brew and drug abuse in the country. Opicho Chemtai for Prime Edition.
Where the government is intensifying its national drive to plant 15 billion trees by 2032 by scaling up seedling production across the country. Environment Cabinet Secretary Deborah Barasa inspected a key nursery in Yambo County as the push to restore forests, create jobs and fight climate change gathers pace. The nursery, which sits on an 8-acre piece of land, is expected to produce up to 8 million seedlings annually.
At the Kinale Tree Nursery in Lari, Kiambu County, lush green tree seedlings flourish, while at other sections, work to plant more seedlings is underway. The nursery, which sits on 8 acres piece of land, is expected to produce up to 8 million seedlings annually, supporting the national target of planting 1 billion trees every year. Environment Cabinet Secretary Deborah Barasa, together with Kenya Forest Service Chief Conservator of Forest Alexander Lemarkoko, assessed the progress. Barasa said the government is scaling up seedling production countrywide to sustain the ambitious program to plant 15 billion trees by 2032 and noted that more than 300 nurseries are currently producing about 600 million seedlings alongside 17 mega nurseries that together are expected to generate 1 billion seedlings annually.
And in the seedling production, we are having 300 tree nurseries that should be able to produce 2 million seedlings, totaling up to 600 million, and 17 mega tree nurseries. So we'll be having 1 billion seedlings being produced in a year. And in view of that, of the 300 forest stations, we are going round each county, each forest station, assessing how the seedling production is ongoing.
Kinale Community Forest Association Chairman Gishui Kimochu noted that the program incorporates both indigenous and exotic tree species.
Hii ni project itakuwa na miti 80 million exotic na indigenous. Hapa Kinale CFE already tumepanda more than 700,000 seedlings.
Seedlings, we have them predominantly indigenous trees, but also we have incorporated the component of agroforestry. Because again, it is important that we look at the economy, how they can boost the economy, how we can even restore our ecosystem, how we can look at climate resilience, but also improve the quality of life in this kind of arena.
CS Barasa further called on development partners to purchase seedlings from community-managed nurseries, saying these would boost local economies while supporting the country's green growth and climate resilience agenda. For Prime Edition, I am Teresa Mutai.
And a Nairobi court has deferred a decision on bail for a woman charged with grievous harm against a minor, pending a pre-bail report to assess the circumstances of both the victim and the accused. Mary Njeri Mokami is accused of causing severe injuries to a 7-year-old child in an incident said to have occurred on New Year's Day, that is in Upper Hill, Nairobi. Letua Deborah has more.
The case stems from an incident on the New Year's Day, January 1st, 2026, in Upper Hill, Nairobi, where a 7-year-old child was seriously injured. The accused, Mary Njeri Mukami, appeared before the Milimani Law Courts facing a charge of grievous harm. Her lawyer requested for lenient bail, saying she's a first-time offender, a single mother and not a flash risk.
Praying that court grants a favorable and reasonable cash bail bond terms to secure her proceeding, coming to court to proceed with this trial on her parents.
The complainant's counsel told the court that the minor underwent surgery costing about 700,000 Kenya shillings and continues to receive weekly medical care.
Effects of this injury are yet to be assessed. They'll be assessed in 6 weeks. We have on account of the foregoing, we'll be requesting that pending or before counsel's application is granted, that we get a pre-bail report to get the sentiments of the complainant as well as her parents.
While not opposing bail, the prosecution supported the preparation of a pre-bail report.
I've listened to all your sentiments, the counsel for the accused as well as the counsel watching brief, and also the prosecutor. I'm in agreement with the prosecution that in this matter, whereby the parties were strangers, and considering the nature of the injury, we need a detailed pre-bail report.
The court has ordered a pre-bail report to assess the circumstances of both the victim and the accused before deciding on bail. The accused, Mary Njeri Mukami, will remain in custody until the case returns to court on January 26, 2026. Elsewhere, 8 Kenya Defence Forces officers and 1 civilian charged with trafficking 24 kilograms of methamphetamine valued at 192 million Kenya shillings, released on a bond of 5 million with 2 sureties each, or an alternative cash bail of 3 million Kenya shillings. Senior Principal Magistrate Gladys Olimo said formal charges require stricter bond despite prior compliance. The accused, all attached to the Kenyan Navy based in Mombasa, were arrested on December 11, 2025 after a multi-agency anti-narcotic operation. Plea taking is scheduled for February 9, 2026 for Peter Kipnechich Tonui, Mustafa Salim Johari, Juma Munyifaki, Michael Karuki and Abdurrahman Salad, where the remaining accused will take plea on March 10, 2026 due to their cases being assigned to different criminal codes.
Bond of 5 million with 2 sureties. Cash bail of 3 million together with 2 contact persons.
Leto Debra for Prime Edition.
The United States' decision to withdraw from dozens of international organizations, including key climate change bodies, is raising concern locally and internationally. The move is expected to affect climate financing, scientific cooperation, and humanitarian support for countries already struggling with the effects of climate change. Aaron Marie with the details.
Donald Trump administration has withdrawn the United States from 66 international organizations, nearly half of them linked to the United Nations.
And for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months. It's never happened before. It's too bad that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help.
Among those affected are the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, which underpins global climate action, and the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, the world leading authority on climate science. The White House says the withdrawal are meant to end a U.S. involvement in bodies it accuses of advancing globalist and radical climate agendas that do not serve American interest. But climate experts warn the move weakens global cooperation at a time when Africa is facing worsening droughts, floods, and food insecurity. In Kenya, the decision has sparked concern among policymakers and environmental groups. Kenya is a regional leader in renewable energy, with geothermal, wind, and solar power forming a large share of its electricity supply. The country also relies on international climate frameworks to access climate finance and technical support for adaptation projects. Analysts warn that reduced U.S. involvement could shrink global climate funding, slowing projects aimed at protecting livelihoods in arid and semi-arid regions that are frequently hit by drought. In December last year, Washington pledged $2 billion to UN humanitarian program, a fraction of previous contribution, while rolling out funding for climate-related projects. The U.S. administration insists the decision protect American interest, but for Africa, the debate continues how to sustain climate action and humanitarian support amid shrinking global commitment. Reporting for Prime Edition, I'm Aaron Marie.
I started playing wheelchair basketball. I went to sitting volleyball. Before I knew it, I was in powerlifting. And is when I, in wheelchair and also in paravolley, sitting volleyball, I became a leader, 2012-2016, as the Secretary General for the entire country. After that is when I was like, I will get confused in the middle. So I need to sit and, even be okay. I believe in God also. I just told God, now this one, I have to have a primary sport.
The National Gender Equality and Disability Inclusion Awards 2025 was an incredible celebration dedicated to recognize the people and organizations making the world more inclusive.
Kwenye Mkulima, wiki hii tunaangazia usafiri kutumia waterbus huko Busia,
na vilevile kuwafuga samaki kwenye vidimbwi na kuwazalisha watoto wa samaki.
Kwa sababu ya sisi kuwa beach ambayo inadili na mambo ya samaki, wateja wakikuja kununua samaki wananunua nyanya, onion, unga, mahindi. So imewapea a very upper hand, especially kwa wenzetu ambao wanaleta bidhaa kutoka Uganda.
Ungana nasi Jumamosi saa 10:30 hapa KBC Channel 1
kwa mseto kamili wa kilimo.
A look at business now, where professionals in the construction sector are blaming the developer of the building that collapsed in South Sea, Nairobi County, for failing to involve professionals. Architectural Association of Kenya President George Ndege claims the developer doubled up as the contractor, contrary to laid down regulations.
Professionals in the construction sector want peer review incorporated in the building approvals to entrench professionalism. Architects say most developers, including the building that collapsed last week in South Sea, Nairobi County, are not involving professionals.
We're recommending that as one of the processes to be an inbuilt process for quality control and quality assurance, all through from design, approvals, and all that. Can we tell that, yes, it was done this way, but someone checked and confirm that what has been done is correct, it complies?
In the case of the building in South Sea, the developer doubled up as the main contractor, which architects says could have compromised safety checks and peer reviews.
The developer was the contractor and therefore maybe felt he didn't need the services of consultants during construction stage. That is wrong. That is a travesty. You don't do that.
They are calling on the National Construction Authority to audit all construction projects undertaken by developers whose buildings have collapsed.
All the building collapses, the developer must be held ultimately accountable for failure to comply with the requirements as captured in Clause 5 of the National Building Code 2024.
The architects are also blaming infiltration of illicit building materials for cases of collapsing buildings.
We are living by the grace of God. If a tremor, even at a very low Richter scale, was to happen in Kenya today, a lot of buildings will come down. The statistics are there.
They are challenging county governments to employ more construction professionals to support enforcement of building standards.
We put professionals in the right places so that when their officers are going round for enforcement, it is engineer and against a registered engineer against another registered engineer. A registered engineer in the county who is dealing with a registered engineer on site, who is dealing with a registered contractor on site.
Benson Rioba reporting for Prime Edition.
And the Kenya Tourism Board is set to showcase adventure tourism and mountain running in the North Rift next weekend in the latest Magical Kenya Mountain and Trail Series. Kenya Tourism Board Chief Executive Officer, that is John Chepkemei, says the three-day event that will be headlined by the Teplengei Cultural Festival will see participants traverse the tea plantations, valleys and farmlands across the counties of Nandi and Uasin Gishu.
The Magical Kenya Mountain and Trail Series, which was launched last year, has traversed several locations including Magharibi Trails, the Aberdare Trails and Mount Kenya's Mount Kenya Trails. Kenya Tourism Board Chief Executive Officer John Chepkemei says the 2026 Taptengelei Cultural Festival will showcase authentic culture of the Kalenjin community while positioning Kenya as a premier destination for adventure tourism and mountain running.
This year we kick off with the Nandi Trails in Tindiret. This is an important event for us as it gives us an opportunity to showcase the beauty of Kenya and benefiting communities by interacting directly with those communities and showcasing what it is that they have to offer.
The event that is slated for next weekend will feature mountain trails, the Taptengelei Cultural Festival that will showcase authentic Kalenjin culture, including traditional foods such as mursik, indigenous vegetables and millet. The festival will feature demonstrations of traditional farming methods with oxen ploughing, cultural regalia, music and educational systems that traditionally shaped Kalenjin children.
We are going to have young men drive through the terrain of Tindred, showcase the beauty of the place, showcase the hidden or actually the big tourist potential that our constituency has.
Beyond that, we are going to showcase the nature through the trails within the Nandi and Uasin Gishu counties, and it will culminate in the annual Tindiret Barangetun Mountain Run that is a platform to identify the top mountaineers or runners.
The Bangentuni Mountain Run has gained recognition as a selection event for Kenya's team to the World Mountain and Trail Running Championships. Last year's winners represented Kenya in Canfranc-Pyrenees, Spain, where the country placed 8th overall among 72 participating nations and topped the African rankings with over 20 medals.
We hope that we'll have a stronger team this year that will carry the Kenya's flag. So I take this opportunity to invite nature lovers, trail lovers to join us.
The Magical Kenya Mountain and Trail Series, done in collaboration with Athletics Kenya and the Kenya Wildlife Service as part of KTB's broader strategy to integrate adventure tourism, cultural heritage and sustainability under the Magical Kenya Adventure brand. Alan Oko, Prime Edition.
Now, when it comes to money, the best thing you can do is make sure, your money works for you. Now, joining me on set is Kennedy Monyoncho. He's the director at Wealth Financial Services to share, practical tips on smart investing and growing your wealth. Welcome to you, Bwana Kennedy Monyoncho.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and it's the best way to start 2026, I guess.
Actually, we should have started last year.
Yeah?
We have started towards November, December, thinking about this year, but we are used to festivities, so there's no time to think too much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'll just give you a chance to just give us a little bit. Who is Kennedy Monyoncho and, what you do?
All right, thank you very much. My name, as you mentioned, is Kennedy Monyoncho. I actually use 3 names, John Kennedy Monyoncho. And I currently am a director at Wealth Financial Services. And Wealth Financial Services has a number of subunits that deal with investment. Of course, we deal with pension administration as a major product. We also deal with capital, and it's called Annual Capital Unit Trust Limited, which we deal with investment. Okay. We also have what you call Annual Corporate Trustee. We are a corporate trustee for institutions that don't want to have individual trustees. Okay. Then we also run what you call an Annual Insurance Brokerage firm that handles insurance issues. And of course, Our latest product is NWealth Impact Debt Fund. That is to on lend to small investors who would like to borrow money at a competitive rate, better than what we actually have in the market. And of course, finally, there's an arm of what we call the impact side. We have the NWealth Foundation, where we support orphans and less privileged young men and women to go to school.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Kennedy, for that brief introduction. So let's begin. It's 2026, and money has always been an issue for everybody.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So we are looking at where someone can invest.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
in 2026, and I want us to bring it to the lowest level possible. Correct. Sometimes when people hear about investment, they think I need to have a lot of money for me to invest. But
yes.
We're going to look at where you can invest even with as little as, say, 5,000 shillings, or even lower. But just mention to us briefly, where are some of these areas before we get into the nitty-gritty of how they work?
Okay, right now you can put your money, first of all, you could say I want to put my money in pension. You can put your 5,000 every month in your pension. That's a good starting point because you get compounding interest. By the time you get your money back, it will have been compounded. That's the first one. And you can't easily withdraw that money, so it is more or less safe for that period. We also have a second product, which is the money market, where you are actually paid monthly return. But you see, if you're investing for the long term, you don't want to withdraw your money regularly. What you want to do is to let it stay until it's able to mature in the time that you want it to mature. Thirdly is you can put your money in the stock market. We have products that deal with buying and selling shares because those are cheap. You don't need a lot of money, all right? You need as low as 3,000 shillings or 100 shares, whichever is lower. You can be able to put in your money there for investment. And of course, 5,000, we can't yet get into the fixed, what do you call the bonds and bills, because they're a bit more expensive. So if you can start at a lower level and build it upward. I think the important thing to remember here is that money working for you, because you can't get into business which is not exactly money working for you. It's you and your money working with yourself, because you have to involve yourself.
Yes.
So we more or less try to encourage people to allow their money to work for them.
Yes.
So send it to where other money is and let that money work for you and let it give you a return.
Okay.
Yes.
So now let's break it down. You talked about money markets.
Yes.
So what, first of all, is money market and how does it work?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, in the financial world, the term money market, and especially the product of a money market, is pretty new. There are very few people who know that there used to be a money market. What we used to have was a savings account that pays you interest at the end of the year. That's what we have been having.
Yeah.
But right now we have a product that, should you want to have your interest on a monthly basis, you can actually invest your money there. But you have the option of allowing that money to be compounded on a monthly basis towards the end of the year. So all it does, it's a money market, okay? It's a money market. You buy some unit trust in the money market and you allow that money to grow on a monthly basis up to the end of the year. There is flexibility. You can withdraw it should you need it, should you have probably an emergency, but we also train our members to have an emergency fund. You don't want to start saving or investing, then you have to withdraw, because then you lose the advantage of the investment. So that is a much easier process to be able to invest in the money market. It's easy, it's flexible, but it needs quite a bit of discipline.
Okay.
Yes.
So are you saying that someone can actually, invest short-term and long-term in the money market?
And ideally, we need to have someone deciding, why am I investing? It's very important to do that. The why of anything is powerful. Once you understand the why am I investing, the how becomes much, much easier. So if I'm thinking about retirement in the next 20, 30 years, maybe my objective is to invest for retirement. Or I'm thinking of buying bonds from the little money I'm investing. So my target is, in the next 1 year or 2 years, I can get into the bond market because I have been saving investing in the money market, because the money market you can save as low as 1,000 bob, regularly. So you can say I can save 1,000 bob or 5,000 as you mentioned. For a year is 60,000. Minimum bond is 50,000. You can buy a bond 50,000 at the end of the year. You must have the why. Why am I investing? And that why must be compelling. If it's not compelling, of course you will put in money and withdraw, put in money and withdraw. Yeah.
And just, generally, we'll be getting into some of those products, and if I may call them, in the money markets. There is a fixed deposit account, there's insurance, pension that you actually mentioned, and all that. So sometimes people just want to understand the risks. And maybe that is where some people are like, 5,000 might look small to somebody else, but someone else has really worked for it, and they're like, not a shilling of theirs will get lost. What are some of the risks, can I say, that people can get to understand even as they plan to invest their money?
I can talk about probably 2 or 3. The first risk is you can invest in products that actually do not increase the value of your money. For example, if you invest in a bond, bonds do not grow with inflation. So assuming you bought a bond for 100,000 shillings and it's a 5-year bond, in 5 years, you'll get back your 100,000 shillings. That 100,000 will not have benefited from the, the growth or the devaluation of the shilling. Granted, you'll have received the interest payments every 6 months, but then at the end of the period, 100,000 which you invested today is the 100,000 you'll get in 5 years, but the value will have actually have reduced. Now, sometimes we don't see that because we are not financially astute, so we don't even calculate that. So we say, no, so long as I get my money back, I'm okay. I'm okay with that. That's a bigger risk, but in terms of losing money, I think our market has really stabilized. The thing people need to be careful is where you are promised very high returns. Where you see very high returns, I think it's good to always ask questions, understand the product that you are being given in the market before you venture in. That's where people normally lose money. It's not in the traditional products that we generally have. I mean, it's also known that you may invest and you may not get as a high return as you want. And that really varies within the market depending on the institutions that are in the market.
So, we at the beginning of this talk, or this interview, we said that we're going to target the lowest, person who can invest the lowest that they can. So just tell us, so for instance, I have about 5,000 shillings. Between fixed deposit accounts, insurance, pension and all that, how can someone best make use of as little money as they have?
Now, the beauty about money, there's no little money. The beauty is the appreciation that if money managed well, it will grow. So whether it's 1,000 shillings, whether it's 2,000, 4,000, 5,000, that money will grow. And specifically if it's compounded. Now, let me give you an example. Assuming that you're talking about 5,000, I wouldn't want to go into a fixed deposit if I have got other products that can help my money to grow. All right? I can decide that 5,000 I can go buy bonds, but it's not enough to buy a bond. But it's enough to put in a money market. It's enough to buy stocks. Right, so what I would do is that I will take that 5,000 and I can put it, for example, right now I can say, I want to be a bit of flexibility. So let me put in the money market, because pension, once you put it in, it's until you retire. It's a good practice for many of us because we're always spending the money, right? I can put it in a pension fund. So let's assume we put it in a pension fund, giving you an interest of say 10% per year, and you're putting in 5,000. I can assure you that in 10 years, you'll have about 960,000. In 20, you'll be shocked, 3.4 million. Because of the compounding interest. And it looks very small, 5,000 shillings, but that's why it looks small and therefore you spend it, because it looks small. All right? So the encouragement is there is no small money. If you want it to be compounded, go to the money market, don't withdraw it, let it continue to grow on a monthly basis. Or you can just buy a pension product. If you have got 20, 30 years before you retire, you'll be surprised how much that money can make money for you. So avoid saving. Saving is okay, all right? But saving doesn't set you free and doesn't allow your money to work for you. It's good for you to see, I can see my money, yes, I can see my 50,000, I can see my 100,000 in the account, but that doesn't help you. It is how much you invest that actually helps you in the long run. And that's why we say, when money works for you, what happens? It generates interest. It is the interest that gives you what we call passive income, all right, instead of eating everything else that you have in terms of investment.
Okay.
Yes.
And so the other place that maybe a few people, but I guess a lot of people also think they could invest in is you know, buying shares.
Yes.
With the Nairobi Securities Exchange.
Correct.
So buying shares. So how does that work? And there's always this thing of people thinking like, maybe in 3 months' time I could actually get, you know, the money that, you know, the profit that I need or something of that sort. Yeah.
Now, you can, there are about 3 ways I think you can trade shares, or you can buy and sell shares. And shares, as I mentioned, they are cheap. You can buy as low as 100 shares or as low as 3,000, and you can do that on a regular basis. You could either identify a brokerage institution or an investment bank that can actually buy shares for you, or you can do the trading yourself. You can open an account and be able to trade at the Nairobi Securities Exchange. Or finally, you can do what we call purchasing unit trusts. For example, some of the products that we have in NWealth is that you can buy a unit trust for shares. So what you benefit from economies of scale where many people are putting in their money, so you're able to buy units or small, it's like a small piece of a cake you're buying of shares, so that you have professional investors for you, and also you take advantage of economies of scale where you can invest and get a much higher return. All right? So these are 3 ways you can trade in the stock exchange. Now, stock exchange is not, or stock market or trading in shares is not magic. It is high risk, we say, and it's also high return. For example, the end of 2024, now we are doing the calculation for 2025, is the return on shares was over 30%. Whereas when you look at bonds, the highest probably was 18%, as it were. So, but there's no guarantee that you'll actually get the 34%. So when people invest in shares, my advice is that have a long-term view of shares. In fact, science has shown, and even research, that in the long run, shares do much, much better than many other products. But it must be the long run. Give it 10, 15, 20 years. You'll be surprised the kind of return that you can be able to get from trading in shares. Yes.
And then apart from just the shares, you also have, is insurance a good place somebody could put their money?
Insurance has got products that are very good. For example, the education product. If you want to get the education product, you can go for insurance. But you see, insurance is good to protect your assets also. There are many who have never imagined that you can get domestic cover. As you actually invest, you're actually protecting your assets. And protecting your assets is part of your investment. I mean, assuming there's a fire in your house, what does that mean? It means the little money you had saved, you'll go withdraw and start buying the domestic goods that you needed. If you had insured it, you'd actually have protected your assets, and therefore there is no loss on your side. That is the big thing about insurance. Now, it's important to have the medical cover. That's very important because it protects you. Domestic cover, it protects you. Insurance is good for protection. But if you also would like to use it, because they have different products that you can use, especially the education. I love the education because then you can actually plan for your children and actually invest for them. And the product always grows. It's linked to inflation. It can be adjusted as it moves on. So it is a good place, but it must have a very specific purpose also. Otherwise, it's not one, because once I've put money in insurance, I can't get it out. There's a minimum period for you to remove your money. The best that can happen is that if you can have your money and control it, that is the best thing that can happen in your own life. That I have money and I determine where I spend it. I have the freedom to spend when I need to spend, how I need to spend, without actually being overrun by money. And that is the best investment anyone can do for themselves. Learn how to manage money. because if you do, money will be your slave for the rest of your life.
Yeah, and just like you've said, you can invest as little as 1,000 shillings
Yes,
probably
every month.
somewhere.
Yes.
So it's not like a 500 or 1,000 shillings is little money. It's just, actually for me, I normally say savings or investment is a habit you need to inculcate. It's not so much about how much you put,
yes,
but the habits that you are, inculcating.
You are 100% right. It's a habit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a habit that we need to develop. We need to grow. If it means we teach our children when they're young, let's do it so that they can develop a saving culture that can help them to invest into the future.
Exactly. So 100 shillings is not little. If you put it like every day, by the end of the week, you have some
double 100 shillings every day for a year.
Exactly.
How much money is that?
Exactly. So there's no little money, there's no big money. It's just how you invest it and how you use it, or how you make money work for you.
Correct.
And maybe just to address especially the young people. It's not like the old people have, it is too late to invest. But somebody who's starting off work, they're young, they have money, probably they're still staying back at home with mom and dad. They don't have much expenses, probably have no family. Would this be a good place for them to start looking at, pension, for instance?
For the young people, two things I would advise very quickly. If they can start thinking about passive income when they're still staying with their parents. For example, if they say we want to buy a house, nowadays you can get very nice condos, one bedroom for about 2.5, 3 million. That's money you can save over 4 years or 5 years, all right? If you're saving, instead of paying rent of 20,000 or 15,000, you can put it into a one bedroom where you will own that house in 4 years. And although you are living elsewhere, that house can be giving you a return.
Okay.
All right? Which is passive income. And the earlier you start thinking about passive income for you, the better.
Yeah.
All right? Now, pension is very good. And I know for the young ones, they would like to finish their life today.
Yes.
They only live once. So why do I want to save for tomorrow?
Yeah.
But from experience, there is no way you can run away. There's no way you can say when you're 50, you have the strength of a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
It doesn't auger that way. It doesn't operate that way. Yes.
Thank you so much, Kennedy Monyoncho, Director, NWealth Financial Services, for coming in and just, giving us, tidbits on how we can actually invest money as little as 5,000.
But then you can plan your Christmas by saving 5,000.
Exactly.
Why do you want to wait and eat December salary for Christmas?
And actually, planning early for your December starts in January.
Start now.
Yeah, exactly.
You can save 5,000 for fees, 5,000 for your December holiday, 5,000 for transport. You'll be surprised.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So we've been speaking to Kennedy Monyoncho. He's the director at NWealth Financial Services. And he's just giving us tips on how we can start our financial freedom, if I may call it, this 2026. So thank you so much, Kennedy, for coming in.
Thank you.
And we want to take a commercial break just after that. But when we're back, I'll be taking you through the rest of the bulletin.
Kamilika 2026 tunaingia na matarajio mema ya kumiliki shamba, nyumba, magari na zawadi zingine nyingi kupitia usaidizi na kucheza kwako. Familia yote ya Tushinde tunawatakia kila laheri, na mwaka huu uwe mwaka wako wa baraka, bahati, afya njema na mafanikio. Happy New Year.
And we continue with the news where the cashew nuts industry is being revived to create job opportunities, grow incomes and increase exports. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization Center in Mutwapa, that is in Kilifi County, has developed a high-yielding and disease-tolerant cashew nut variety capable of 20,000 seedlings set for distribution to farmers during the long rain season.
Kenya currently produces about 13,000 tons of cashew nuts annually, far below the installed processing capacity of 45 tons. Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mutahi Kagwe says this shortfall has cost the economy hundreds of thousands of jobs and pushed farmers away from the cash crop.
I feel very strongly, but both as a national government and as county governments, we have let our farmers down. And this has to change. We have to take responsibility for the reduction in cashew nut production.
The Agriculture and Food Authority estimates that a fully revived cashew industry could generate up to 350,000 jobs across farming, processing, transport and exports, as well as contribute over 30 billion shillings to the country's GDP.
Na vile vile wawekezaji kama sasa East River Foods ambao wako hapa wanataka pia tufanye kazi na hawa, tuwasaidie wawekezaji wawe wakinunua cashew nuts kutoka kwa wakulima, pia wanafanya export, na hiyo export inasaidia sisi kupata foreign currency na foreign money ambazo pia tunatumia na njia zingine.
To boost production, the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization Center in Mtwapa, Kilifi County has developed a disease-tolerant new cashew variety capable of doubling yields.
We want KARO also to work with private sector, licensing of private sector seedling, also business people who can be able to give us that support, because one organization on its own cannot be able to do it.
Officials from the Kenya Agricultural and Livestock Research Organization are urging farmers to adopt grafting as a viable and faster option to rehabilitate aging orchids and enhance productivity. Sylvia Gatti for Prime Edition.
Now, as Kenyans make preparations for their economic well-being in 2026, questions around financial stability, household budgeting, and the country's broader economic direction are taking center stage. Financial experts emphasize that successful financial planning this year will require discipline, flexibility, and a clear understanding of personal financial goals.
With the surging cost of living and shrinking income, households are being encouraged to reassess spending habits, strengthen saving culture, and make informed investment decisions. Experts say long-term planning is necessary to cushion families against economic shocks while positioning them for future opportunities.
Whatever the World Bank is projecting is not reflective of what's happening in the household. It becomes now very critical to have a financial plan to be able to manage the pressure that is coming with it.
They explain that while challenges such as debt pressures and global economic uncertainties remain, improved macroeconomic stability could create room for growth across key sectors. According to the experts, understanding the link between national fiscal policy and everyday financial decisions is essential.
Ask yourself what is happening every other month. Am I still aligned with my goal? Don't be surprised in December that, oh, I missed my 52-week savings challenge by this much. That is something you can anticipate and be able to track the progress as time progresses.
Changes in taxation, interest rates, and government spending, they noted, directly affects consumer purchasing power, business operations, and investment confidence.
What the government can do, and even the lenders, can we have maybe special financial institutions that would lend to entrepreneurs or even lend to industries, the industrialists, so that there's a dedicated fund that is out there that will help build these industries. And when we have industries, we are going to be producing for the local market, for the export. We are going to be creating jobs, and here we are going to have jobs that have dignity.
Informed financial planning will be a key survival tool. From households managing monthly budgets to businesses making strategic investment choices, the message remains consistent. Plan early, stay informed, and remain flexible. Ndutamo Kami for Prime Edition.
Tonight, we take you to Lake Naivasha, one of Kenya's serene natural treasures. Nestled in Great Rift Valley, Lake Naivasha offers moments of calm, beauty, and quiet connection with nature. Here is Alvin Kaunda with the details.
Nestled in the Great Rift Valley, about 100 kilometers from Nairobi, lies Kenya's enchanting freshwater lakes. Lake Naivasha. A place where peace meets wild beauty and where every moment carries a hint of adventure.
This lake, it is the first international airport of Kenya.
Huh?
Yeah, the first international airport of Kenya. Now we used to have those seaplanes. They used to land here, dropping passengers here and picking passengers from here, especially those ones from Europe.
Wow.
And that was early 1920s to 1939. That's when they stopped landing here after Kenya creating concrete landing, which is Embakasi.
Our journey begins in the water aboard a simple wooden boat.
This lake is a natural lake, not a man-made.
Oh.
Then it has 3 rivers that feed it with water. And for those 3 rivers, there is one river that is a seasonal river. We call it River Karati. And for that River Karati, it can bring water to the lake the time that we have rain only.
Okay.
Now the remaining 2, we have River Gilgil and River Malewa. And for those 2 rivers, they used to drain water from Aberdare Ranges. That is why they are permanent inlet for the lake.
The name Naivasha is derived from a Maasai word Naiposha, meaning rough waters. And when the wind rises, you'll understand why. Though in most mornings, the lake mirrors the sky like glass. These waters sustain life, not just of fish and birds, but entire communities that move with the rhythm of the lake. Then comes some unexpected moment.
That's crazy.
And you can check the Captain Phillips invites his wild companions. Pelicans swoop in around the boat, while above us, the unmistakable cry of the African fish eagle fills the air. A quiet display of trust between man and nature. If you're a bird lover, this place is paradise. Over 400 species of birds, from kingfishers to fish eagles to pelicans, sacred ibis. I mean, what's there for not to see for bird lovers? The African fish eagle, the undisputed kings of these skies, can spot a meal from hundreds of meters away. Beyond the shoreline, grasslands come alive with grazing wildebeest, curious waterbacks and towering other bird species, proof that Naivasha's beauty flows far beyond its waters. As the sun dips beyond the horizon, the lake glows, quiet once more, a reminder that sometimes the greatest magical scenes are not found in the chase, but in the stillness between ripples. For Magical Scenes, I'm Alvin Kaunda.
Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy has reached a major conservation milestone following the birth of the 100th mountain Bongo calf, that is. Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy Head of Conservancy Dr. Robert Aruho says the achievement realized through the mountain Bongo breeding and rewilding program underscores the growing success of science-led conservation in efforts to rescue one of the most endangered species from extinction.
The mountain bongo, distinguished by its chestnut coat and spiraled horns, was once common across the Mount Kenya ecosystem. However, decades of habitat loss, forest fragmentation and poaching drastically reduced its numbers, leaving the species on the brink of extinction, prompting urgent conservation intervention. In response, Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy, in partnership with the Kenya Wildlife Service, launched a structured breeding and recovery program aimed at rebuilding the population while preparing animals for eventual return to the wild.
This birth is very, very significant for us. It renews our hope to see that the recovery of the mountain bongo in Kenya is taking very strong and positive trajectory. It renews our hope that we will be able to save the mountain bongo in our time.
The program traces its roots to 2004, when 18 mountain bongos were repatriated from the United States to Nanyuki to form the founding breeding population. A key boost to rewilding efforts came in 2022 with the establishment of the Mawingu Mountain Bongo Sanctuary, the world's first dedicated wild sanctuary for the species.
We have morning patrols that are usually done. So you are able to predict the movement patterns, just the way you can know the elephant corridors, same way you know where the animals like to pass through. So we look at such key areas, and that is how we are informed where to set the AI.
The sanctuary provides a secure and natural environment where mountain bongos undergo gradual rewilding in preparation for reintroduction into their historical ranges in Mount Kenya, Eburu, and the Abadeas. Beyond breeding, the Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy integrates species recovery and community empowerment, with more than 30,000 students participating annually in its programs aimed at fostering environmental stewardship and sustainable natural resource management. The Mount Kenya Wildlife Conservancy is now focusing on rewilding and establishing a self-sustaining wild mountain bongo population to safeguard Kenya's unique biodiversity for future generations. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Let's take another break. On that note, my colleague, that is Daniel Wahome, is already in studio and will be bringing us the sports news in just a moment.
A very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome and welcome to Prime Edition Sports. And Team Kenya is already in Florida for the World Cross Country Championships, where they are all psyched up to defend their overall title this Saturday at the Appalachia Regional Park in Tallahassee, Florida. Kenya will be going for a fourth title in the mixed relay, where they will be well represented by world 1,500 meters bronze medalist Reno Cheruiyot, Chumbe Munguti, Purity Chepkurui, who tasted glory in 2024, and Wilfred Mbide. Cynthia Chepkurui, who won the Cardiff Cross Country Challenge to a gold meet in Wales last year, will lead the Kenyan Challenge in the under-20 women's race, all determined to reclaim the title they won in 2013, while the senior women will be aiming for their third consecutive title and 10th overall title.
Opens have got a mountain to climb here if they're to get back.
Agnes Ngetito is the world 10-kilometer road race record holder, will be expected to rise to the occasion and take the top honors in the senior women's 10-kilometer race with the absence of the defending champion Beatrice Chebet. She will be joined by national champion Maureen Chebet, Karen Chebet, Rebecca Mwangi, Jeline Jepkemoi and Brenda Jepchumba.
Approaches the line. She will be
the Kenyan flag bearers in the junior under-20 women's race have a great chance to reclaim their title. With the absence of a scoring team for Ethiopia, will only field 3 athletes due to visa problems. Kenya last won the title in 2013, and the team of Sirikwa Classic winner Cynthia Chepkurui, Miriam Kibet and Lona Jerono, who triumphed in the Kenya trials in that order, are up to the task.
He continues to look focused and determined as the gap grows back to second place.
Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
And Kenyan Junior Grand Slam winner Angelo Kutoi has advanced to the semi-finals of the second ITF W35 tennis tour after a stunning performance in today's doubles, where she partnered with Demi Tran of the Netherlands to win by 2 straight sets against Nicole Salvadori of Italy, who paired with Nepal's Abhilasha Bista. Okutoi, who has been outstanding in the ongoing tournament, is also through to the quarterfinals of the women's singles at the Parkland Sports Club.
21-year-old Angela Okutoi, who won the W35 singles title last week, continued a show of brilliance in the women's double after partnering with Demi Tran of the Netherlands. The duo claimed the first set 6-1 before cruising through to victory in the second set, which they won 6-love.
I feel like we were aggressive with Demi, trying to win points as quick as possible and just being aggressive, because I feel like you have to be aggressive to be able to win points quick, and it's effective as well. So
great experience. I really like it. I just played my singles match. I lost, unfortunately, but still in doubles, so I'm feeling good. Yeah.
They will now face Isabella Shinikova of Bulgaria and Linang Xia of China in the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Okutoi advanced to the quarterfinals of the women's single after claiming a 6-3, 6-3 sets win over Al Hussein Abdelaziz of Egypt. In another match, Zuzana Polikoska claimed 3 straight set win over Demi Tran of the Netherlands.
2-4 I started to play better and better, and I think that first set I just played my game, my solid game, and yeah, I won.
Meanwhile, Tennis Kenya has acknowledged that Egyptian Hajar Abdelkader should not have been granted a wildcard to the W35 Nairobi tournament after concerns were raised about her level of play after she faced Lorena Schierdel of Germany in Wednesday's first round, where she lost in straight sets. Sean Muya for Prime Edition.
And Kenya will take part in the CAF Futsal Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers for the first time this year, where they are drawn against Namibia in the 2026 qualifiers, with the first leg slated away on the 23rd of this month and the return leg in Nairobi 5 days later, that's the 28th. The aggregate winner of that round will progress to the final second round in February, where they'll meet Libya, who have been exempted from the first round with 3 other highest-ranked teams. The winners of that decisive round will join hosts and defending champions Morocco in the finals. Meanwhile, back at home, Soy United matched victorious in today's FKF National Super League matches as the National Olympic Committee of Kenya awarded IOC scholarships to the national sevens rugby teams.
The National Olympic Committee has set their sights on qualifying more teams for the 2028 Olympic Games in Los Angeles in words and deeds. And today they took another step towards that by awarding the national sevens rugby teams Shujaa and Lionesses the International Olympic Committee scholarships to support their pathways, just like they had done to 8 other sportsmen and women yesterday.
It's a big thing. It's a big thing. We don't take it for granted, and we just don't do it for the sake of doing it. We do it because we have faith in them. We trust that they will not only go to LA to participate, but when they are there, we'll be actually looking upon them to end up on the podium.
I think we all know how expensive sports is. But then rugby is it's a really expensive sport. So any little, whatever support we are able to get to enable the teams prepare for the Olympics and even just for HSBC, it's a big deal for us.
And in local football, Soy United beat Equity Bank 2-1 in the FKF National Super League matches as Darajani Gogo FC were held to a goalless draw by Gutha Stars in another match encounter.
Good. Kwanza we thank God imekuwa game poa bila majeraha. Na imekuwa tu fit, vijana wameweza kujisukuma, but at the end of the day tuweza kupata hizo results yenye kwa tunataka.
Finally, the magical Kenya Mountain and Trail Series will return to Nandi County on the 15th to 18th of this month. The 3-day event marks the opening leg of the 2026 series and will feature the Taptengele Cultural Festival and the 5th Tinderet Bangetuni Mountain Run, according to the Kenya Tourism Board's Chief Executive Officer, John Chepkemei.
Now, Nigeria's Africa Cup of Nations, that's the AFCON campaign, has been thrown into uncertainty after reports emerged that the Super Eagles players are threatening to boycott their quarterfinal clash against Algeria scheduled for Saturday unless outstanding winning bonuses are paid. Sources within a team camp in Fez say the players have down tools, refusing to train and declining to travel to Marrakesh for the decisive encounter.
The standoff within Nigeria team to this year's Africa Cup of Nations comes despite Nigeria's flawless run at the 2025 tournament in Morocco, where the Super Eagles boast a 100% winning record. At the center of the dispute are unpaid bonuses from 4 victories over Tanzania, Tunisia, Uganda and Mozambique. Each player is reportedly owed about 5.5 million Kenya shillings for helping the team reach the last 8. Bonus rows are a familiar problem in Nigerian football. A similar dispute over World Cup qualifying bonuses is said to have contributed to the Super Eagles' failure to secure qualification at the expense of Democratic Republic of Congo in Morocco.
Slips it under the absolutely brilliant goalkeeper.
The quarterfinals kick off tomorrow with Mali against Senegal, while host Morocco will play Cameroon in mouth-watering clashes. Frederick Mwoki for Prime Edition.
And so that's the sport for tonight. Tomorrow evening, definitely on Easy Friday, we'll be keeping up with Angelo Kutoy as she plays in the semi-finals of the doubles at the W35 in Nairobi, and also in the quarterfinals of the singles, plus as we build up to the World Cross Country Championships on Saturday, taking place in Tallahassee, Florida. 5:45 p.m. is when the mixed relay starts, and so we'll have all that package for you. My name is Daniel Wahome. Back to Marie.
Thank you, Daniel Wahome, for the sports update. And so I will not add anything on top of that. Anne Wangeshi was our sign language interpreter tonight. My name is Marie Yambo. Have a good night.
Imekamilika. 2026 tunaingia na matarajio mema ya kumiliki shamba, nyumba, magari na zawadi zingine nyingi kupitia usaidizi na kucheza kwako. Familia yote ya Tushinde tunawatakia kila la